Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our final episode of the Summer Film series. We're glad that you could join us online or here in person. And if you're on your way, come on over. We're excited to have you here today. As a little bit of housekeeping, just a reminder that after today's session, and once you complete all of the surveys, what will happen is it'll probably take about a month for all of your CMEs and CEUs to be available. So no need to reach out to me or my office inquiring next week. It takes a while for our team to get things in order. And I think that's my last notes. So on that note, I'm really excited for you all to hear from our OEE team. And as you can see from the slide there, we have with us Dr. Adrienne Morgan and Cara Wood-Harris. So Dr. Adrienne Morgan serves as the Richard Feldman Vice President for the University Office of Engagement and Enrichment, OEE. She is also an associate professor in the Department of Health and Humanities and Bioethics, the Warner School of Education, and the School of Nursing. In her role as vice president of OEE, Dr. Morgan advances campus culture rooted in connection, curiosity, and continuous growth, aligned with the university's Meliora and I Care values. OEE promotes active, inclusive engagement, and I want to make sure I'm not going too fast. Inclusive engagement and meaningful enrichment through storytelling, capacity building, and community-driven programs. Its vision is to co-create a profound sense of belonging and thriving for all members of the university community. With more than 25 years of experience in inclusion and organizational change, Dr. Morgan has made significant contributions to the University of Rochester. Cara Wood-Harris is the Assistant Director of Education and Learning Design for OEE, where she leads facilitation and learning design professionals in the development and delivery of skills-building workshops that support staff, faculty, and students in pursuing a culture of constructive engagement and belonging. Cara's professional career is rooted in public health, first providing direct patient services at a local community health center, and later delivering health promotion and equity education to both community members and the healthcare workforce in Rochester and the Finger Lakes. She has been with the University of Rochester since 2018, when she joined the Medical Center's Infectious Disease Department through their Center for Community Practice. While there, she has served as a lead trainer and curriculum writer for the CDC and New York State supported grants dedicated to improved health for LGBTQ+ and those impacted by HIV. She then joined the Office of Engagement and Enrichment in 2022 and has been a leader within the education program since that time and is passionate about quality care for all. Please join me in welcoming both to our team today, and we'll start out with Dr. Morgan.
Janelle, thank you very much. And I'd like to welcome everybody here online and in this room for coming to hear about the changes that have happened to our office over the past few years. And so you can only imagine what's been happening with a new administration that's come in and the way that this organization, this team has had to pivot very quickly to address those needs. But I will tell you, we've done it with courage. And we have done it in a way that we hope still retains our values and our vision and mission for the university. So as Chanel said, we really are here to advance a campus culture that's rooted in connection and connectivity, curiosity, and continuous learning. That is our mission, really aligning that with our Meliora and I Care values. And we really are here to promote inclusion and engagement, just as she said. To let you know, despite the changes that have happened on a national level, our mission has not changed. our mission really has not changed. And I really want to reiterate that and let people understand that we're really still here to create educational and programmatic opportunities through our strategic collaborations with you all, to engage openly, to learn continuously, and contribute meaningfully while prioritizing respect, curiosity, well-being. And our vision statement has not changed either. And we really are here to co-create a culture of profound belonging and thriving for all members of our community. So we're really proud that we have been able to work with senior leaders, our Office of Legal Counsel, departments, staff, faculty, students to keep our mission and vision front of mind. So just to give you a sense of an evolution of the office of what was originally called the Office of Equity and Inclusion, this office was established in 2019. So we are literally 7 years old. The university just celebrated 175 years, but this office is 7 years old. We had an inaugural leader who stayed about a year and a half, 2 years, and then went on to do some other things at another place. And I stepped into the interim role in 2021 and sat there literally for 2 years as the interim before being part of a national search and being appointed the vice president of the office. My first goal was really to unify the URMC and university offices of equity and inclusion. I really do believe that alignment, same messaging, all moving in the same direction is really important so that there's not conflict and confusion. And so we were really able to do that. And again, a testament to all of you sitting in this room and online. Given the election in 2024, our office was renamed the Office of University Engagement and Enrichment. And like I said, our mission and vision has not changed. We have always had a big tent mindset about diversity, equity, inclusion. The people sitting in this room, Cara Wood-Harris right here, Isabel Chandler here, have been our educators and facilitators. And their goal has always been to make sure that everybody feels included in their trainings. There is no blame, there is no shame, and there is no guilt. We realize we all come from different lived experiences, and so we really want to make sure that that resonates with everybody in the work that we do. So again, our challenges along the way for the last 2 years have really been around this new administration that has talked about doing illegal DEI. I want to assure everyone in this room, our team, the university, has never engaged in illegal DEI. What was fine on January 19th was no longer fine on January 20th, and that was a new administration initiative. And so even despite the executive orders that came out, the civil rights memo that came out, the DOJ memo that came out, we have never engaged in illegal DEI, but we were cautious and we were thoughtful about how we move forward. I sit on a lot of national committees, and many of my colleagues are no longer at their institution because the university just thought it was easier to shut them down. That was not the tactic that the university here took. Our senior leaders thought about this thoughtfully as we move forward and recognized that while we had to do things differently, we could still speak to our values and our mission. And so we had the opportunity to sit down as a team and say, what are we going to do? As we begin to pivot, what are we going to do so that we help meet this mandate, but also, again, still speak to our values? And so we decided to focus on three areas. That's the restorative practices work that we do, the signature programming events that we do, and the education and learning-centered initiatives that we do. And really, to talk about our restorative practices, to me, this is the foundation of everything that we did, even when we were the Office of Equity and Inclusion. Restorative practices are really about building community and doing that in a way that really respects and honors each individual. And so that's the framework and the mindset that we work from. And we also support teams and individuals that have experienced harm. That's the other part of the work that we do. And this team is led by Dr. Tracy Torrance, who I believe is in your department, yes, and Kit Miller. And they do an amazing job. They have put together some great programming. They do these restorative dialogues that happen in the spring and the fall. And we have some coming up in the fall. And they really are an opportunity to bring people together to talk about different topics. And they do that in a very thoughtful way. They also have an amazing program called Conflict Transformation. And they I cannot tell you how many people have gone through that and feel that it has been very helpful to them. How to, we all want to be conflict averse, or we're either those people that are walking into it because we love it. But either way, they help people really gain the skills to be able to address conflict in a meaningful, respectful way. And so that when people walk out, they walk out understanding their differences and coming to what I would call a repair agreement. So look for those things that are happening. They should be coming out very soon. They do them virtually, they do them in person, they do them in a hybrid format. So please always feel free to be able to come. And some of the topics they're going to be talking about in the fall are how to build community at work, repairing ruptures, managing up on making a difference, and meaning and purpose at work. So these are really interesting topics to talk about. The other area that we are looking at is our signature programs and events. And we do 3 major events throughout the year. One is the Boundless Together conference that is happening on October 23rd this year, and I'll speak a little bit more about that. The Martin Luther King commemorative address is something that has been done for 2 decades here. This was started by students, and the university has continued to honor that. This year we had Dr. William Barber come and speak. There were about 300 people in the room. I cannot tell you, he took us to church. We were all singing. We were arms at length, moving back and forward. The belonging and joy and love in that room, I go back to it every time that I'm feeling down because it was such an amazing experience. So that's something that we do. We also coordinate the Presidential Inclusive Excellence Awards, and I encourage all of you, when that announcement comes out, nominate somebody in your department. People are doing amazing things in your department, and they deserve to be acknowledged and recognized for that. Some of the other things that we do are book clubs, and we've always done one tied to the Boundless Together conference, but we did one in the spring called Try to Love the Questions by Laura Hope Schwartz. She is a scholar that talks about constructive dialogue in a way that really builds a framework, and we are using her framework, much of her framework in the work that we do. And the other thing we did last year, our keynote speaker was Michelle Norris, and she has a international initiative called the Race Card Project, and she asked people in 6 words to talk about their lived experiences. And we decided to pick that up, and we call it Show Your Cards. And that's something that we're really going to start to ramp up. It gives us a sense of what people are thinking about in our community. And we did it with some students, and it was very interesting, some of the comments that we got back, but really got a sense of how they feel about what's happening in the world today and their place in it. So please look out for any of these things. They're through at Rochester, through our Encompass newsletter, many, many ways that you can find out about the work that we're doing. Again, like I said, the Boundless Together annual conference is this year on October 23rd. It's at the Rochester Riverside Convention Center. We have a great programming opportunity. The theme this year is the power of us. We really want to talk about the collective power that we have in Rochester to make significant change. President Mangelsdorf will lead a panel of 4 Rochester leaders who will talk about how we can build coalitions and collaborations to address some of the most important, not only healthcare, education needs in Rochester. And it should be a really dynamic, robust conversation. And I'm pleased to announce that our speaker this year, our keynote speaker, is Loretta Ross. She is a MacArthur Genius Fellow. She wrote the book Calling In, and what she's talking about really aligns with the work that we're doing around constructive dialogue. She is a fierce warrior around reproductive justice, social justice. She's been doing this work for a long time, and it will be very exciting. We will have a book club tied to her book, Calling In, and that announcement will be coming out soon. If you sign up for the book club and you're one of the first 200 people to sign up, you'll get a free copy of the book. And our team with Cara and Isabel are going to lead an incredible book club series. Like I said, we did it with Isabel Wilkerson when she came around her book Cast, and it is really a wonderful day at the Rochester Riverside Convention Center. We get 800 to 1,000 people there, and we have some amazing breakout sessions this year. So please join us if you can. Again, just reiterating the conference. So around education, one of the things that we really had to do when this new administration came in was to pivot in the way that we do our education. Again, what we were doing before was not illegal. Again, it didn't focus on blaming people, shaming people, or making people feel guilty about anything. It really was an opportunity to answer some of the most pressing questions that people, particularly at the medical school and the medical center, were asking about patient interactions around microaggressions, pronouns, bias, all of those things, and how that they could address those issues to provide the best patient care possible. And so with this new administration, we knew that we'd have to pivot. I don't know if any of you know about the 50 words that you cannot say in a grant or teach about or do other things, but much of the work that we did was on that 50-word list. And so we really had to think about it. And so what we have pivoted to is really around constructive dialogue. And this is something that we were thinking about bringing to the university well before 2024. I was at a conference, the AAMC conference. I saw Cornell West, and I believe his name is Roger Preston. They were talking, they have very different philosophies, ideologies, but they are two people that really model constructive dialogue. And I thought, we need to bring that here. It's really about nurturing our curiosity and bringing those skills. And we call it practice for a reason, because this is not a one and done work that we're doing. This is really a holistic, comprehensive plan that we have put together to really move along the life cycle, 4-year or 5-year life cycle for our students, and also for our faculty and staff to be able to get micro-credentials, to get certificates. Everything that we do, from Boundless to book clubs to MLK to any of the courses you may take, really are centered around this and are helping people build those skills. And we want to make sure that we continue to do that. And why is this important? You know, we think about the moral case for this, about being able to talk and to each other across differences, but they're really, these numbers tell the story of why it's so important to communicate. When 86% of workplace failures are attributed to poor communication, that is significant. That translates into about $62.4 million for large corporations. This speaks to reputation, retention, innovation, you name it, all the things that are out there that really make a functioning team function and be able to contribute to the bottom line and make people feel like they have a sense of belonging. And 43% of employees say, I like the work that I do, I just don't like the people I work with. I can't communicate with them, I can't talk. And that is huge. And so we really think that we've hit on something here by bringing that. And we really feel that it aligns with our institutional priorities, particularly around the Boundless Together, Boundless Possibility Strategic Plan. It speaks to that exceptional undergraduate and graduate education, faculty and student success, and it provides us an opportunity for actionable skills, to build those actionable skills, so we really can live out our Meliora and iCare values. Again, if we just make the case for constructive dialogue in an academic setting, which we sit in, it really is about truth-seeking. This is the cornerstone of what higher education is about. This is the pluralism that happens in the space, the ability to bring in diverse, divergent ideologies, ideas, ways of thinking, to really come at it with curiosity, humility, respect, active listening, and finding a common ground. Most often when you talk to people, if you start from a common ground and then be able to build out from there, this is not about persuasion. It's not about debate. It's about really being able to understand what other people, their way of thinking through their lived experiences. And we know that if we educate 25% of your workforce, that's a tipping point to create a new culture. And that's what we're trying to do. And for the University of Rochester, that translates into about 13,000 people. And again, that's just people taking the foundational course and then building on the other things that Cara and Isabel and their teams are doing. So we invite you to reach out to us to do a foundational session. Thank you. A foundational session, but also we are also creating and building on new things so that people can continue to practice this work. Again, it's about our democratic responsibility. We have elections coming up. We are so divided as a country. This gives us an opportunity to really be able to hone these skills and be able to talk to people. Families have been disrupted over these issues that are happening, and we want to make sure that, like the biopsychosocial model of medicine that the University of Rochester School of Medicine and Dentistry is known for, we really feel that this is something that the University of Rochester can be known for. Communication is no longer a soft skill. Employers will tell you that. This is a hard skill that they want their graduates and new hires to have when they come into the workforce. And we're determined to do this in a way that no other school has, in a very holistic, comprehensive way. So what I'm going to do now is turn it over to my colleague, Cara Wood-Harris, who has been the architect of much of what we're doing in collaboration with Isabel. And I'll turn it over to her. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. It always impresses me when Dr. Morgan can capture, even though 7 years sounds short, there's so much that has happened with our office in that time. I don't know how many offices get a new name inside of 7 years. So there's been so much that has happened, and it always is great to kind of see it as the pathway that leads to where we are now. So excited to be talking about our constructive dialogue practice. As Dr. Morgan shared, I am the director of our education and learning design programs. So with our team, we've done a lot of work around education on this topic. So as you saw, we have many different programs that we do. There's places for application of skills, but education has been a big part of it. One of the ways that we started developing our program was not wanting to recreate the wheel. So as we began to dive deeper into this topic and even begin to explore, one of our initial focuses was on free expression, right? That was a thing that, especially in 2023, 2024, campuses and universities were navigating how to face free expression concerns. And we did a lot of work on that topic. We partnered with PEN America, a national organization focused on free expression. But one of the things that we heard the most was, okay, policies, procedures, free expression, we can figure out what the laws are. How do we put this into practice when people are actually interacting with one another? So that was a huge theme that we learned about as we began both benchmarking interviews with other campus programs that had constructive dialogue, civil discourse, many different ways that campuses talk about this program. We talked with, again, those peer institutions, but also with on-campus stakeholders and really asked the question, if this is something that we want to pursue as an office, if this is one of the ways that we engage with the evolution of the initial titling and efforts of our office focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Critical to name that as we talk about where our office has gone and the evolution we've gone through. As we started to have those conversations, one of the things we heard the most was exactly as Dr. Morgan just said, this cannot be a one and done session. Constructive dialogue and engagement, especially about the topics that impact us most. Much as we might like it, those skills cannot be learned in one 1-hour session. And so our efforts have been focused not only on education, which I'm excited to talk a lot about today, but really on the way that our 3 signature focuses, they really synthesize that constructive dialogue practice. So I'll be talking a lot about education as we go through the second half of today, but critical to keep in mind that we want to be sure that when people leave our education sessions, you come in, you get the skills, you need a place to go to apply them, right? And so that's where we see things like those restorative practices dialogues. Those are just open spaces where people can come in and practice the dialogue around topics that feel hard, right? Things like working with people at work that are maybe not so easy to work with, right? That's the reality for every single one of us. So what do we do about it? And then, of course, after we have those opportunities for dialogue and engagement, restorative, also opportunities to support when challenges and harm happen, we also have those signature events and programs like Dr. Morgan talked about. And I love the focus on Boundless. I love getting into Boundless season because that's the opportunity where we begin to bring in not just, 30 or 40 of us in a room, but as Dr. Morgan shared, 800, 1,000, 1,200 of us in a room, in many rooms, and then back to the big room to talk about what have we learned and what can we do together. So this education is, certainly that's the perspective I take is thinking about our workshops, but there's so much more than that. So as we get into talking about the type of education that we do around this topic, I'd actually love to invite some interaction from all of you. As a little bit of a preview, a little bit of a way to share, the education that we provide around these topics is very interactive. So if you're coming to an education session with the Office of Engagement and Enrichment, whether it's our restorative team for their incredible conflict workshops, whether it's our education team for our constructive dialogue kind of specific content, you're going to be talking a lot more than we are, right? And that's always the goal. So what I'd like to do now is take a little minute and I want you to reflect on a disagreement that went well. I don't want you to think of one where you won, and I don't want you to think of one where at least no one cried, right? Think of a good disagreement. And what I'll ask you to do is if you're online, if you've got a piece of paper near you, if you've got a little corner, maybe write down a couple things about it. Here in the room, what I'd love to ask you to do is turn to someone near you. Find a partner. I'm going to get you talking for a couple minutes, and you have to do it because if you don't, it'll be really quiet in here. Okay? So find a partner, and I want you to think of this disagreement and just answer two questions. How did you know that it was going well? And what did you personally do to make it go that way? All right? We're going to take maybe 5 minutes, turn to a partner, have that discussion, and then I'll ask you a couple questions after that. All right? Go ahead, jump in. Even though I think now and at first I was really taken back. Yeah, because it could be very not. Yeah, it's be nervous that I could have been wrong. Yeah. But like I get the second to this. It's funny because I feel like it's like different. Yeah, I just feel like a lot of yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really know how this day not so even right away. Take about one more minute, wrap up your conversation, and then we'll all talk. Which sometimes is just not I can be but I think it was just good for I could see the long Okay. Love hearing these discussions. Love hearing little pieces. Let's come back together. I would love to hear from some folks. I'm thinking about this first question. How did you know it was going well? For our folks online, if you hear something that resonates with you about how you've approached this in the past, if somebody says something that you were thinking, give us a little heart react, give us a little thumbs up. Only I can see it, but I'll love to know. I'll love to know that you're sharing that experience. So yeah, folks in the room, when you think about that disagreement that went well, somebody tell me, how did you know that that was what was happening? Oh, fantastic. Yeah, comment online.
Does the person look relaxed and not defensive? provided reassurance of good intentions, reminded them of the common goal, the bigger picture, collaboration, reminding what's quote unquote good conflict looks like, opportunities for safe discussion and understanding different perspectives.
Yes. Okay. So much in there, right? Starting with the body language, right? We maintained kind of an open sense of body language, offering reassurance, right? So it sounds like some of the ways that person knew it was a good disagreement was that there was a lot of maintained connection there, right? Definitely a person-to-person connection. Yeah, please. I'm not sure if we can hear the sound of folks online with raised hands, but if you type your, okay, yes, if you type your response in the chat, Chanel will read it out for us and we can get your thoughts. Someone here in the room, what did you talk about with your partner? How did you know that it was going well? I hope we didn't only talk about bad disagreements. Yeah, please, thanks.
Kind of off of the online comment, but just in general, kind of knowing that the overall disagreement has a similar outcome that we want to achieve, but maybe a different route of wanting to get there, of like how we perceive with our own opinions, like how we're going to get to that common goal, but not necessarily like the end result. We want the same end result for the same reasons, but maybe like our ideas or our pathways to get there might be different. So I feel like that's how I know at least it's going well, where we both are at that understanding, but maybe we haven't gotten to the understanding yet of how we're going to compromise to get to that goal.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That establishment of a shared goal, right? And even that happening is great. And when you can acknowledge that together, right? Getting to that point of, I can at least acknowledge we want the same thing, right? Show of hands, who's been in an argument where you're like, I think we're saying the same thing, but we're still fighting, right? Yes, absolutely. That happens all the time. Curious if anyone has something to add about how you personally contributed to keeping it constructive. What do you do, or what did you do to kind of keep that tone in the room with you? Yeah, it's about.
For me personally, it was really a lot about not getting into the mindset of, let me tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah.
Or like the keeping a list of, well, here's everything that I do that completely contradicts any of your points. So
Yeah.
kind of keeping this like kind of tit for tat kind of.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot to focus on in a disagreement. And if you're keeping track of the score, sometimes keeping track of what the other is saying can be a challenge. Yeah, absolutely. Any more shared online? Anything? Yeah, please.
Yeah. So Faith says, I know it was going well because I didn't feel dismissed. The other person showed interest in what I was saying. Last, it didn't feel combative.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. Excellent examples. So it didn't feel combative, right? You knew the other person was interested in what you were saying. I'm really grateful for your sharing. Thank you very much for talking a little bit more about that. And it's like many of you have already seen our workshop, because the topics that you focused on, as you talked about how you've navigated conflict, really align with how we approach this foundational workshop, right? When we think about connecting through dialogue, first things that come to mind might be conflict, might be hot topics, might be managing emotions. That's all part of it, absolutely. And bringing it down even further to the foundation, what we try to focus on is curiosity, right? I heard a couple of people say, I knew it was going well because the other person was genuinely interested in what I had to say. I didn't hear people say, I knew it was going well because they agreed with everything I said, right? Just that curiosity makes the interaction better. And a better interaction is kind of what we're going for. We can't always come to the perfect outcome. We can't even always agree, but it can go okay, right? While that's happening. Connection is one of the other core elements that we bring to this workshop. As we were doing some of those subject matter expert interviews, as we were looking into how to create this work, like I said, we had hot button topics on our mind, right? One of the things I thought we should do was let's get people into what's it called? The thing everybody hates, role plays, right? Let's get people into role plays on tough topics. And every person I spoke to was like, please don't do that to us. Session 1, we've never even met each other. This is a new group. And it was a great learning experience for me because the feedback that we got was, get people into real dialogue. Why don't you ask them to talk about something important to them, right? You've taught them these skills. Get them into a conversation where they're talking about something that matters. Or maybe a time where they disagreed with someone that they respect, right? That's a real conversation. I don't have to worry about what the other person thinks about my fake perspective that I'm trying on, right? We can get into those dialogues as we grow our skills together. So focusing on connection and letting people have that one-on-one relationship as they get into dialogue was a real eye-opener for me of just the importance of making sure that we see that shared humanity. And then last but not least is deep listening. I heard so much of that reflected in what you shared, right? That the way that you knew a conversation was going well or what you did to try to make it so was really to just listen to the perspective of the other person, right? To listen without interrupting, to listen without the intention to just respond. So these are the 3 core skills that we focus on in connecting through dialogue. Like Dr. Morgan said, that is our flagship education under this umbrella of constructive dialogue and engagement, but we will have many more and do have new offerings coming out even this fall. So very excited to share more about them. One thing I like to share as well is this quote that we received from a student learner, actually after one of our earliest deliveries. So we were trying the session out, seeing how it resonated for folks. And we got this feedback that the session helped me understand that being a leader is not about convincing people or being the loudest voice. It's about guiding conversations in a way that keeps people engaged and respectful, even when they disagree. And I was so thrilled to see this feedback early on because that's exactly the hope, right? That's exactly what we want out of facilitating education like this, offering opportunities, be it in an education session or one of those programming events. We want people to have the experience of interacting with each other in a positive way, right? So really exciting feedback to hear. I talked a little bit about new education sessions that are coming up and opportunities to learn. So just sharing a little bit about this here. Hot off the presses, you all are the first to see this flyer here. We just got it out of the office this week. I skipped ahead, but I'm too excited, for our Boundless Book Club. So 2026 Boundless Book Club, as Dr. Morgan said, we'll be reading Calling In by author Loretta Ross. And this is an incredible framework that we're going to lean more and more into in our office for the challenges that have faced us, the challenges that faced us prior to 2025. They are here with us today, right? None of that is different. We have frameworks that can help us to approach these challenges, right? And calling in is certainly one of them. Connection is one of them, right? So very excited about the Boundless Book Club. We're going to have a little QR code and a link at the end here for you to get connected. And to go up the slide, last but not least, we have a new session coming out soon that's called our Bridge session. And that's where we can take folks who have gone through that connecting through dialogue session that I just shared, that foundational connection, deep listening. The Bridge session is an opportunity for folks who have completed that to kind of take the next step. We like to call it like a 1.5, right? Where we take those skills and those core tools, and then we look at just some kind of scenarios, day-to-day scenarios that might happen in an office, even a scenario that has happened within a team, right? And use a framework to kind of step through, okay, so I want to use connection and deep listening. How do I do that when I'm trying to approach an actual conversation with my actual boss, right? And so getting into our Bridge session, kind of going through some steps and learning how to do that and apply those skills is something we're excited to offer as the fall goes on. And that won't be the only one. So keep in touch. And with that, I bring you to our last page before we get to Q&A. Please keep in touch. You can scan this QR code here if you have the ability to scan, or we can get this link sent out directly to you. That'll take you to our link tree on the right here. We've got lots and lots of links. We've got too much good stuff going on to put them as separate QR codes. You can reach our OEE website. That's going to be the hub for just about anything we've talked about today. But I do want to direct you to the sign up for our CDP newsletter. If you're excited about this, if you're not excited about this and you just want to see what we're doing, sign up too. We want everybody, right? Get on the sign up list. We're going to be sharing more about the new sessions that are available, about what's been happening in the sessions that we offer, and things like the Calling in Book Club and the conference, right? So much good stuff coming out of our office. So sign up, keep in touch, and keep us on your minds. And with that, that's the end of the presentation that we have, and I think we have some time for Q&A. So feel free, anything coming up for folks in the room, and I know we might have some questions online as well. But thank you so much for your time, folks.
Dr. Cara, for being here to help us to better understand the Office of OEE and these programs on constructive dialogue and all of the fantastic work that's happening there. Feel free to, for those that are in the room, we have microphones overhead, so if you have questions, just raise your hand and you'll be called on. And those that are online, I'm trying to monitor those as well as the folks that are in the room. So one person is asking, will resources be sent out? I'm not sure what that means.
Sure. We do have this link that kind of goes to our link tree. Is that something that we can hand off to you to maybe email to attendees today?
Sure.
Yeah. So we can send out this link, which is kind of the start of the tree. And then anything else that we've talked about today is on our OEE website. So you can find our restorative practices page there. You can find information about our education and programming. So that's a great hub and a great spot for resources to start.
Any questions in the room?
And feel free, yeah.
I have a question. So I've taken, and I'm not sure of the title, I thought it was constructive dialogue, but maybe it isn't, the class with Tracy and Kit. Is that constructive dialogue?
That is, how long were you there? Was it three-hour sessions or was it one? It was that. So that is conflict transformation. So that I would say is sort of a good next step, especially if you started the constructive dialogue practice. That session is more foundational. Our conflict transformation series, as Dr. Morgan mentioned, is a fantastic education opportunity, a little bit more in depth. So the conflict transformation is three-hour sessions, but I have attended and can also attest it is really just fantastic, has changed the way that I even approach conflict at all, let alone how I handle it, especially as a new leader. So it is different, but it's one of those opportunities we have, really trying to create that scaffolded, lots of opportunities for learning approach.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And actually, let me just piggyback on that. So the bridge session, is that a bridge towards that?
That's a good question. Really, it's kind of a bridge towards using the skills. And so what we like to do is have learning opportunities available at multiple levels without being too prescriptive about what order they have to go in. Certainly if someone were to come and oftentimes when folks reach out to our education team, we'll do a quick consultation call, get on a Zoom for 15 minutes or so, just kind of ask, yeah, so what's going on in your program that encouraged you to reach out? And if folks come to us and they tell us, yeah, we're working really hard on our team, we've got good communication skills, but there's just some really tricky stuff that we're working to handle. That's a good time that maybe we would encourage them to attend conflict transformation, right? Like, you guys will probably be pretty good. Sounds like you do a lot of good deep listening. And so that's when we might encourage someone to connect with our restorative team. On our education team, we do, in our education program, we have that foundational connecting through dialogue, and then Bridge is just kind of a next step and bridges you to kind of solving whatever problems you're hoping to work on within your space. I think our conflict education from restorative would build beautifully on that afterwards as well. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Dr. Morgan, anything else you want to say? Anything to share?
No, I just really encourage people to sign up for the courses and use this as an opportunity to hone your listening, your active listening skills, and being able to talk with people who you're not in agreement with, and that's okay. Like, move towards conflict, but be able to do it in a way that doesn't cause harm. I think, and that's what we're trying to achieve, and that's what we're trying to do here at the university is, we look at how many PADH cases we have a year, hundreds of them, literally. And when you drill down into it, it's really about people not being able to communicate effectively with each other. And so this is a great skill that I think can help us deal with that. It makes us more efficient. It makes things flow much more easily. It makes coming to work not feel like it's such a burden. You don't have those Sunday night scaries where you're like up all night thinking I have to go back there and deal with all the conflict that's going on. That's what we're trying to avoid. This really gets down to our vision about this deep sense of belonging, because you feel like no matter what your views are, no matter what your lived experiences are, they will be respected by people, even if they don't agree with what you're saying or what your lived experience is. So I encourage people to do it as a team. A few times a year, we just have open sessions where you can come. I attended one of those and had so much fun with the people, meeting people in departments that I didn't know and being able to talk with them. And our education team is highly, highly skilled. They're fun to watch and fun to participate in what they're doing. It's really, really interactive. So you don't have to bring notes. Just come with an open mind.
You had mentioned earlier that the classes were hybrid or in person or Zoom, so there were different.
Yeah,
options.
I think, the beauty of working with Cara and Isabel is that they will work with your team with what you need. We prefer in person because I think you can make a deeper connection. But we have so many people working remotely that we want to be able to honor that as well. We'll work with the team. So who's all in the room? Is this everybody from the Department of Psychiatry or people come from different departments? What brought you here today?
Yeah, that's a great question. Do we have, who in the room is a student who's attending?
Are you all nursing students?
We're actually orofacial pain residents.
Excellent. Oh, okay.
So communication is a big part of between ourselves, but also with patients, understanding where they're coming from.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, so some students in the room. What about residents, fellows,
They said they're residents, yeah.
faculty?
Yeah. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, and this work that we're doing, it's open to everybody. It's so interesting because when we work with faculty a lot, they're like, we don't need this. But then when we talk to students, like people who need it the most are faculty. They just don't know how to talk to us. They don't, and so everybody thinks they're expert at this or good at it. And on some levels, yes, we are, but we can always be better at it. And so, again, we just encourage people to sign up for it. I think you're going to enjoy the foundation one, and really excited to bring the bridge and the conflict transformation. This really is a skill that is valued in the workplace. We've heard from so many employers saying, this is not a soft skill anymore. I'd rather hire somebody who has the ability to communicate and I can teach them whatever else they need to do than bring in somebody who is expert in something and can communicate with no one. Those are the people that cause the most harm on a team. So.
People leave their places of employment because of the conflict. They're not able to speak to one another.
Absolutely.
And so
They leave, they're terminated, all kinds of things happen because of inability to communicate across differences.
Well, if is anyone, I'm trying to make sure I'm acknowledging
Anybody online?
in the room. Yeah, let's see. We have gotten a couple of. Well, because I don't want to hold folks up and you can have a few minutes back to yourselves to finish your lunch. Thank you for being here. Please join me in thanking the OEE team for being here. I would like to say that if you're interested in having a session, the 2 slides ago, I think there was the way to do that, right? And if for any reason, if you need those slides, please reach out to my office and we'll make sure that you get that. But if not, I know that it's on the OEE webpage as well.
Yeah, you can sign up for an education session.
Okay, so you can go as an individual or as a team. Correct?
Yeah, a few times a year, we offer just open sessions. Usually we like to have a team, but if, that doesn't work out, we have these opportunities for people to come to an open session. usually about 20 to 25 people in a session. That's open to anybody. But I went to one of those and it was great because I got to meet people from places around the university that I didn't even know existed, so.
So we should then look for those in our area,
Yeah,
get a group together and then reach
Yeah.
out to you all.
yep, you can do that. And like I said, we'll be offering some open sessions in the fall.
Okay, and it looks like the QR code is on. As a reminder, there are no CEUs and CMEs for today's session. And thank you all for your time and attention here today, online as well. And thank you again to Dr. Morgan and Cara. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The two.